think we're live.
Okay.
It looks like it.
Oh no, it's not the right one.
What do you mean?
Darn it. Hey everybody. I'm on the wrong how did that happen? I'm on the wrong live stream, but we're live anyway, so hi everybody, we're joined with Phil today. We're going to be talking about anything and anything under the sun as far as physics, but Phil's got a direction he wants us to take this one. And with that, we're joined with Phil Langdon. He's an author. He's got a couple books out there, Ascension Handbook. And what's the other one?
Cosmic Awareness.
Cosmic Awareness. Sorry, bud. Thanks.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we don't normally talk about that one, so no one hears about it, you know. So
right. But yeah, he recently changed the Facebook group to Ascension instead of enlightenment or what was it? Illumination, because of, you know, the title of illumination kind of brings a negative aspect to the group, but he changed it to Ascension. So if anybody's looking for him on Facebook, that's where you can find him, at Ascension. With that, I'll let you take it away. Thanks, Phil, for joining us.
All right, thanks, Steve. I appreciate that, dude. Hi, everyone. My name's Phil Langdon. I'm from London. I've been illuminated for 5.5 years now, and we discuss various things on these shows. I hope you enjoy. Okay. All right.
Hey,
so I just wanted to raise two little issues first of all, because one of the a couple of years ago I had a conversation with a guy called Pierre Sabac up in Leeds, in a northern city in England, and we recorded a 4.5-hour conversation, and it's only recently started to go up on YouTube, and of course it's interesting. I love looking at comments to see what people focus on, and somebody has already suggested, an elderly gentleman has suggested that the experience of divine union when you meet God is actually maybe demonic, and that he put this apocalyptic mentality on the whole thing. You know, he just didn't accept any of it, and he sounds quite religious, but it just goes to show. So I wanted to raise an issue about one of the words that's used in the statement that I said in the video, where I said this statement led directly to illumination or ascension, because illumination is ascension. It's the same thing. You literally take off vertically upwards at the speed of light. So we call it ascension, you know. So in the statement that led to that, I was given a statement at a temple called the Bayon that went like this: you are mind, mind is stillness, stillness is timeless, timeless is eternal. And the use of the word mind has become an issue with semantically, because some people don't like it, and they don't realize that it was being used in that context instead of the word spirit. But you can simply implant the word spirit in there, and you've got exactly the same thing, because the statement was alluding to the nature of awareness being the nature of spirit. Do you see what I mean? So if it just said spirit, you might not associate an awareness with that, because it was focusing on the idea of being aware. Yeah, aliveness, livingness. Livingness is eternal. God is living. You know, physical things can be thought of as dead in comparison. Only in comparison. Do you know what I mean? Only in comparison. So yeah, the word mind is there in place of the word spirit, basically, to emphasize awareness. That's all. So it's just that little point I wanted to make. He also asked me about the difference between soul and spirit, and in my mind, I got taken by his conversation a bit there. In my mind, they're the same thing. Personally, I just think they're the same thing, because I don't see why you'd want to split that down any further, because it's very simple.
I had to ask you that very same thing recently about soul and spirit, and you know,
yeah. I mean, you could say that the spirit is a spirit version of your body, so you'll look the same if you step out your physical body, and your soul is your singularity. You know, your actual existence, your being itself. But to me, those two things are one and the same in a way. I could go into certain things there, but I don't want to overcomplicate the issue. you know.
Well, it's like we're a bunch of singularities of the singular condition, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I want to show you some graphics as well if I can get them on screen.
Yep, I think you have ability to share, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I've got a file ready to share with you.
All right.
Oh, it's behind. Okay.
I might have to put you on as a co-host, I think, or something.
Oh, really?
Let me see here. Yeah, I'm gonna make you a co-host so you can do whatever.
All right. Okay. Is that easy?
Yeah, I just did it.
Oh, okay. That's it.
Yep. So there should be a share button at the bottom of the share screen.
Share screen. Share screen. Okay. There's that one. Okay. Can you see that?
I can. Yep. Your pictures. Yep. It kind of looks like my pictures.
Right. So these are the pictures I got together for this talk that we're doing now.
Okay.
I wanted to show you the zero-dimensional nature being 3 parts. There it is.
I don't see that one though.
You can see that?
No, I can't. You got to double click on the picture from the original page that you shared. You know what I mean? I don't think you can pick a subcategory through because it won't follow the path. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So double click that right there, the one you're on. Just try double clicking it. There.
Why don't I?
There you go.
Why don't I use that then? Yeah, that's the what do they call it? The segment of the screen. It separates the screen for you. You can see that?
Yep, I can see that. Yep, on our right is the threefold nature of reality, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So this is the nature of zero dimension. It has 3 aspects because zero dimension is a singular nature. It technically has 3 aspects because you can define a singularity as zero dimensional because it's a singular issue. You can also define an infinite expanse as a singular issue as well. So if they're both singular issues, they are one and the same issue because singular nature is singular. There's only one. You see what I mean? But it has automatically these 2 oppositional aspects between singularity and the abyss. But it has this this aspect which is more like everywhere all at once. It doesn't need physical space to exist. It's a question of getting your head around the different aspects of this idea or this condition, because God is everywhere all at once. There is nowhere that God is not.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's that kind of thing. And yet he's not singularity. He's not the abyss. He's above and beyond all that. So the singularity and the abyss are to do with manifestation.
And the physical dualism is manifested through this process or this singular condition. And that's why we see duality, right? In the physical world.
Sorry, dude, I didn't really follow your sentence there.
Okay, you know how everything in our world is a yin and a yang, or a push and a pull, or a plus and a minus, the dualistic nature of reality?
Yeah,
that's dual. 2 of the 3, right?
Or
is that 1 of the 3?
I wouldn't break it down like that. The duality is the duality that you're seeing here in terms of the touching manifestation is, you see the light in the middle of that triangle?
Yes, sir.
Right, so that is the dual opposite of the abyss.
Okay.
The abyss being a non-personal thing. It's
always there.
It's an empty vacuous space. It's not a person. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, and the light is not a person either. It's a thing as well. So there's nothing personal about the abyss, you know?
Or the light.
Yeah, and unless you want to start talking about the fact that the light is the footprint of God, then you can start saying, well, there is something personal going on because it's personal to God. And yes, it is. But the light is still, in terms of its physical nature, it's still a thing. You know, it's a thing left behind. It's a signature left behind, as it were. So it's not God itself.
Right.
Right. So I want to show you another one.
Okay.
This next is because it shows you Gabriel's horn. So you see it says Gabriel's horn there?
Yes, sir.
Right.
I'm smiling because Yvonne just did a video on horns today and God. It's just weird, dude.
What a coincidence, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
would you believe it? Would you believe it?
Synchrony.
Yeah, synchronicity. There you go. Right. Okay. So Gabriel's horn mathematically has a finite volume within itself, and yet the surface area is infinite. It's provably infinite. It's one of the strangest things there is mathematically, Gabriel's horn. So on this end, on the left-hand side, you've got the singularity concept, which relates to us, and then on the other end, you've got the expanded.
Wow.
So what I'm showing you is that when you go through the narrow gate, you basically invert, and you become your singular nature becomes the abyss as an inversion. Yeah.
Hey, isn't that Roger Penrose's CCC model? A bunch of those, one right after another?
Yes, that's right. So the next one I got here, I compared it to the growth of the cosmos from basically a singularity out to a point where it dissipates, and all you've got left is black holes, and they dissipate through Hawking radiation, and you've got nothing left. So all sense of scale has gone. So it starts again, because the creative principle is always extant.
Nice. Yeah, that's, hey, it's funny how, you know, you've told me this very same thing probably 50 times. And this one time, because you illustrated it, I kind of wrap my mind around and make the connection. You know, Gabriel's horn, I never even thought.
Right. It can be a great help to have graphics, which is why I focus on making graphics so much, because they instantly communicate to you, you know?
Yes, that's why Egyptians communicated with hieroglyphics, right?
Bingo. That's right. It's a direct language. Yeah, really. A spiritually deep, direct language. So another aspect of this zero-dimensional concept, when you look at it from a physical point of view, it's going to look like a singular point, and it'll appear as though the cosmos is just appearing from in the middle of nowhere from this point. You see, right? But that point is the abyss. So the abyss does not envelop. You could say that the cosmos grows inside the abyss and expands it and extends. You know, an earring, when someone puts a circular cylinder in the base of their ear, and they extend it, so you've now got a loop around there, right?
Yep.
So imagine the cosmos is expanding the abyss, and the abyss is immediately around it, like a super thin membrane around the cosmos. Ever, only ever. Did you get what I'm saying?
Say that again.
So if the abyss is zero-dimensional, when you're in it, it appears to be an infinite expanse. But physically, from a physical point of view, it is a zero-dimensional point, the abyss. Okay?
Yep.
From the physical point of view only.
Okay.
So when you look at the start of the cosmos, it's supposed to come from a singular point.
Oh.
And of course, the great argument is, well, how can it do that? Well, and the excuse is, well, it's quantum fluctuations. You know, It's just random, nothing to do with God, sort of thing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's
they
the
make
problem.
up words to compromise or try to explain it, right?
They don't want God involved in creation. Physics doesn't want God involved. Seriously.
Yeah, because you can't prove God exists in a tangible, physical sense, right?
Yeah, they can't prove it, so they have to ignore that. See, and they just deal with the mechanism, as it were, and they can't reveal the why. But illumination reveals the why of it. So,
and the why of it is?
The why of it is that God has created a system where God himself can enter, become an individual person, and re-find himself and experience the totality of his being. Seeing as God is all there is, this is the only way that can be achieved.
Yeah, that's the only way he could define himself, is through physical creation.
Yeah. So physical creation is the exact opposite of God. So by going into the opposite, you can now experience your true nature as God, as if you are another.
Nice.
Otherwise, you can't experience yourself, because you are yourself and you are all there is. Therefore, there's nothing for you to look into, like a mirror, to know yourself, you see? So the cosmos is that means that God uses to know himself. You'll find this in Kabbalah and sacred geometry. They both say that the universe is God observing himself or wanting to find himself.
Yeah. A lot of people say it like we're in God's mind.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, as if the cosmos is God's brain. You can easily get away with that metaphor. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just watching Arthur Young right before this interview, actually, and he had a short clip out there. The purpose is auto-renewing, automatically renewable. You know how, you get, because we're like creatures of wrath, and we're never fulfilled with what we want in the first place. Now, does that tie into the spiritual aspect of what God is doing, or why we are all fractalized parts of God, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean this issue of God observing himself and becoming gaining gnosis is nothing but the beginning. So you have a process to gnosis and then a never-ending process from gnosis as well. There are higher worlds. There are other things to occupy yourself with. Greater things. What about creating? What about cosmic gardening? There are wonderful things waiting for everybody. Honestly, you wouldn't believe me. It's quite obvious when you meet God, you know an awful lot of things automatically. It's so weird that you just know that. You know how things might go or how things go, as it were, in terms of a soul progressing through the cosmos. That
Yes.
kind of thing.
Yeah, I can automatically tell just by your behavior, and Yvonne, she's the same way. You guys are just at peace with yourself. And
yeah, it's very straightforward. It becomes very straightforward because there's nothing really original about it, and seriously, all we're dealing with is what I'm showing here. Can you see that yin yang symbol?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So on the one hand, our bodies contain us as spirit. We are the spirit in the body. If you flip that and reverse it, you've got the cosmos, which is the greater body, which is contained within spirit. So it's a very simple way of expressing the nature of reality here. Of course, spirit being God, we can call spirit completed. Spirit in gnosis is God. Yeah, you achieve God's status, as it were. You achieve God's awareness, let's say.
And that's why at the top of the tree of life is Chakma Bina, or Chakma Bina in, what is it, understanding? Or what is it, knowledge, wisdom, understanding?
Yeah, I think it is that. Yeah, I think.
Or is it reason at the top?
I can't specifically remember, to be honest, dude. I don't think about the tree of life as 10 points anymore. I don't need to follow that Kabbalistic system.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Because that is it's a structural system, so you can build the structure in your mind that is going to be useful and applicable to lots of different subjects that you encounter.
That's where I'm at right now.
See, so it really helps you structure things. It's a bit like maths. You don't need to remember every single equation, because when you do an exam, for instance, they're all written down for you anyway, just in case you forget one. Because there are so many. You don't have to be a font of like an encyclopedia all the time. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's more like carrying weight around with you. And to be honest, when you meet God, you realize you want to be like God, and God has no weight on his shoulders. So you keep thinking, how do I be more like that all the time, and not get taken up by physical things again. So you have to redefine some rules to yourself, like concerning self-love and respect for yourself, and learning when to say no to people and this kind of thing, politely, as it were. You know what I mean? The sort of correctness of behavior, if you like, I suppose you could say, that's more becoming of somebody who has encountered God. Really, I'm not going to start being uncouth. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, right.
So yeah. Okay, so another thing I wanted to raise, which is slightly, it's about the physical energy issue that we have in the cosmos, which is automatic. Do you remember we spoke about when you apply it to the hermetic pyramid, you got clay bricks pyramid capstone for the 4 points on the base, and then of course the result is the diamond. But when you apply that to energy, you have the issue of motion. And with motion, we have something that has a position that takes velocity, which is a constant change of position. Then a constant change of velocity is acceleration. But then the fourth condition there that I wrote down before, I used the word control, which is an appropriate word. However, there's a much simpler way of picturing that and understanding that. Because when you say, I'm going to control acceleration, the next question is, well, how exactly are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean controlling acceleration? What does that mean? Well, let us just have a real simple think and comparison. Let's say you're in your car, you haven't started the engine yet, and it takes up a position on the earth. Your car is sitting there, yeah? It has a position in space-time, let's say. This is your car. So when you get in and you start driving it, and you put your foot on the pedal for the same pressure, you're going at a constant speed now. But when you put your pedal down a bit, you start accelerating. How are you going to stop the accelerating car?
By applying the brakes, right?
There you go. That's it. That's the solution. That's the idea of control in the cosmos. So the brakes, the cosmos applies brakes to the acceleration of energy within its confines, and we call those black holes.
Wow, everybody thinks they're the opposite.
What do you mean?
That how they suck in matter or eat matter and in my French, shit energy, you know.
Right. So I hang on. I think I've got the stellar because I did the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram in university. I did astrophysics as well, and of course you study the life cycle of stars, and all you've got really in the cosmos is stars and planets and moons, of course. But stars and planets basically sums it up. So when you look at the life cycle of a star, and a planet in a way is a smaller failed star, if you like. Jupiter is considered to be like a brown dwarf. Yep. You know, it's almost a failed star, right? But it's a gas giant. So really, when you look at the life cycle of stars, they end up going to the black hole if they have a certain amount of mass. And once you've got a black hole, that's a completely different state and condition. In my opinion, that's a return to the original state of the abyss. Which is why it's pitch black. I just wanted to say one thing, just in case people don't get this. If you remove everything physical from, let's say, a location, spirit still exists there. So you can talk about a black hole as the vacation of a location in space, but spirit will still exist there. There's something about a black hole that links to spirit. Because when I was in the abyss, I was hearing a sound in my head that I associated with a piece of music that was written about a guy who goes into a black hole. And I think I was telling myself that this is the same condition as a black hole. So I associate the abyss with black holes. And
what is the tone of the music? Do you have that in mind at the moment?
Yeah, it's a song by a band called Rush. It's a Canadian trio. They wrote it in 1977. It's called Cygnus X1.
Cygnus X1.
Yeah, it's on an album called A Farewell to Kings.
I've probably heard the song, but I don't even know what it's about.
Right, there's a really quiet bit in the song where you hear this the specific sound that they have in that song is exactly what I heard. I was playing it to myself for some reason, so I was kind of trying to tell myself that you know, the T = 0 timeless nature is shared by black holes as well. So energy goes back to the abyss. It applies. There are natural breaks, and those breaks we can call torsion. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why there's one at the center of our galaxy, right? I mean, is that like the nuclei?
There's also there's another issue. Of course, it's not as simple as that. Applying the brakes is the idea of controlling acceleration. When you have torsion, you can speed it up.
Yes, that's what I mean when I said
Yeah,
that.
so there you have the issue of being able to control whether you speed it up or slow it down. So there's the issue of control. Yeah, and one of those is brakes, being able to apply the brakes. I just wanted to elaborate on that little concept there and get a nice simple metaphor.
No,
You know,
okay.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And how it's the original state of the abyss. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So can you see the picture I'm showing now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you can see the event horizons around a black hole is where time is zero. There is no time passing at that place. So it's timeless, which is exactly the same as the abyss, which is a spiritual quality in a sense. So we have a linkage from the cosmos to back to the abyss there. I wanted to say finally on that point that black holes develop over time. They're a bit like humans in the sense that when they're born, they're little babies, but when they suck up lots of matter, they get bigger and bigger and bigger until they accumulate thousands, if not millions, of solar masses, and then they start to become creative. This is how I see them. So they become creative black holes in their adult life. Do you know what I mean? When they become mature, as it were.
So are black holes born from nebula then, or is that a whole different thing?
Well, the black hole is specifically born from an amount of stuff that has gathered together to form a star, where the pull, the attraction of all the material has overcome the pressure. It's overcome the pressure of the material that keeps it apart. So, and if there's enough material, it will basically disappear, and you'll have a black hole there. Yeah.
Because it does it collapse in on itself then, like the scientists or the physicists say?
The material changes state completely and basically goes back to the waters of non-state, if
Nice.
you like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I inherently, or just I don't know why, but I always thought there has to be a thing in which that turns energy to matter and vice versa. And that's what you're saying a black hole is.
Well, a black hole has access to the creator. See, I think the source of all light in the cosmos is the creator. That, in my opinion, that's the source of all
The
light.
pineal light itself.
Yeah, that's right. The fact that it exists by itself in an abyss, regardless of you. See, so in a way, you've got a in a way, it's kind of like having a wormhole. In the center of my head, there is now a wormhole linking me to the outskirts of the cosmos, as I've mentioned before. But it's a weird concept because it's actually zero dimensional as well. This is very, very difficult for people to get their heads around. And I think it's partly why illumination is associated with great intellect as well. You know, I'm a little bit apprehensive about the nature of that intellect that you need to grasp this, and you need to have some kind of mathematical geometric training. Do you see what I mean? Because you can't just tell this to the random Joe on the street and expect them to understand.
Right.
You know. So yeah, there is a lot of explaining to do. Also, I think black holes do something to the material that is surrounding them in space, and they organize it. They set up enormous magnetic and electric fields, you know, that organizes material, basically.
Do you remember where our solar system is in the galaxy?
Yeah, kind of. It was like 2/3 of the way out or something.
Yeah, I remember in the 80s learning that it was on the edge.
Oh, right, near the outside edge.
Yes. Do you think that was because of technology or just not knowing, or?
Well, it's I suppose it depends.
Because now they say it's 2/3 of the way in, or 26,000 light years from the center, where it used to be 50,000 light years from the center.
Oh, right. Well, it may well be measurement problems there. I don't know. I don't know offhand. It might have been a guess, you know, guesstimate, and then people suddenly realize, oh, hang on a minute, we need to get this exactly right.
Right.
You know, you never know. I don't know the story behind that, so I couldn't say, really.
I have a theory about the Mandela effect, and I think that has something to do with it. And I think Mandela effect is a way for our higher self to communicate to us that reality is more than what we think it is.
Right. It might be tweaking you to think timelessly, to think of the nature of timelessness. and how it is all things at once, in a way. Yeah. Spirit is all things at once, effectively, and yet it's no thing at all. That's an amazing concept.
I said that once to somebody that everything is really no thing. And they were like, what are you, nuts?
It depends on, the context and
right.
how you're delivering that and what else you're saying in conjunction. So I'm on a bag of peas here and there's a little bit of slippage going on. Hang on. Okay. All right.
Your bag of peas, huh?
I'm a bag of peas. Yeah, I've got to keep it cool. It's so hot, man. I've got a fan pouring some nice cool air over here as well. Okay.
People have been on this plasmoid kick as far as black holes are concerned. And I think it's the electric universe mentality, or people that are thinking that black holes don't exist.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you have to say to that?
Right. If you go back to Einstein, if anyone dismisses Einstein, you're doing yourself a disservice, because he came up with a very, very simple idea with special relativity, that the speed of light is a constant and everything else has to conform to that. And it makes perfect sense. It actually corresponds with Kabbalah exactly, precisely. Once you've established that the speed of light is a constant velocity, you need to realize that that's going to have time dilation effects and length contraction effects and geometric effects, depending on the nature of the relative motion between two objects. Yeah. So relativity is very, very important, because it changes your appreciation of time and timing. So if you literally go and stand on a mountaintop, you will spend less time than someone standing on the ground. It's minuscule, but of course you can exaggerate it by imagining that you're going to travel through space at the speed of light for a year, and when you come back to Earth, everybody's going to be like 50 years older, but you've only spent a year out there. Yeah, that movie Interstellar, I think, showed that. Is that the one with Matthew McConaughey? Yes. Yes. Is that when he's in zero-dimensional black hole or something? Yes, and he's in the bookshelf trying to communicate with his daughter. Right, that's really interesting, because it suggests that a black hole is like an ultimate spiritual connection, and from it you can go anywhere and connect to anyone, sort of thing, Right. I thought of the movie Contact too when I was watching that movie. With, Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster. Yes, that movie. I think that movie is absolutely beautiful. I love Contact. I love it. I love Jodie Foster. I've always had a thing for Jodie Foster. If I ever get a chance to meet her, I will give her the biggest hug and the biggest kiss. I really like her. Anyway. I'm supposed to ask you, are we on Orion or Sagittarius arm of the galaxy? I think it's a Sagittarian arm, I think. It used to be. Oh, is it? Oh, really? We're on the Orion. Now we're on the broken Orion spur. Oh, right. Okay. Okay. And the speed of light, is that have any connection to how black holes are described? Like light can't even escape a black hole. Is there any correlations there? Yeah, it's the same principle as an orbit. So if I send something up in space and leave it and just let it fall, it will fall by itself, and it will fall back to Earth. But if I project it at a specific angle, its falling will make it circulate the Earth perfectly, and it's constantly falling, but it never actually falls to Earth. Yeah, that's why they have to be up right around 17,000 miles an hour, right? Something like that. Right. So you apply that principle to light. Light is bent by space-time, effectively, or gravity. It will bend light around, and of course, if you bend it enough, it will find itself back again and just go round and round in circles. Oh, that's the Shen ring. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's right. That's awesome, dude. Yeah. So it's the same thing, same principle.
And like the wedding ring, right? That's what a wedding ring symbolizes, is the union between God and you, right?
Yeah, it's a wholeness. Yeah, it's a ring, so it's one thing. It's your loop as well. In the Freemasons logo with the compass and the set square, that you have a G, a G. It's not a G. You can use it as a G, obviously, like the great architect or God or whatever. But really, it's a circle. It's an arrow in a circle, showing you a loop. It's the same thing. It's a Shen ring. It's the
Nice.
same, which is it means eternity or eternal.
It's the same thing that Ouroboros represents, right?
Yeah, that's specifically the creative process from the creator, and of course what he generates. He generates the cosmos, which develops into the creator again, you know, or that which allows the creator to be made.
The seed of the Bible.
Bingo. Yeah, the seed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And God is the seed-giving Father. Yeah, so the seed is the Son of God. Yeah.
Yes, and I like the one way you put it that really made me realize that a lot of people are barking up the wrong tree with Jesus. Is Jesus is like a bag of peas. Are you going to worship a bag of peas? You know.
Well, it's obviously if there was a person who was illuminated 2,000 years ago, it's the truth that comes out of his mouth that counts. And his quotes are absolutely amazing. In the Gospel of Thomas, those quotes are staggering. They're staggering. I was reading them the other day, and oh my goodness me, here's someone who knows exactly what they're talking about, but you never understand it because it's like someone who's a scientist being surrounded by kids in school who have never heard about science yet, you know. So his language is just way over their heads. You know what I mean? That's what it's like, yeah. But the Bible has less of that. It's much easier to grasp the stuff in the Gospels than in the Gnostic text. I think that might be why it was left out, because it's a bit too intellectual. It's very intellectual, the Gnostic stuff. You need to be pretty astute to get your head around how they construct their sentences and paragraphs and what have you. You know,
the Gnostics are the ones that had like a negative relationship with the creator, right? They portray it as something that's evil or bad or against you, right?
Kind of, yeah. They recognized the indifference of the physical nature of the creative principle. So that's the devil. Therefore, you don't really want to be worshipping that. You don't want to be worshipping creation because it's the work of the devil. And yet, it's actually the great work, but you're the one who completes that. So the devil doesn't actually do that. See, the creator never finishes his work.
That's beautiful.
Do you see that? Can you see that as well? Isn't that funny? How you can get all these different things from that situation. He hasn't done his homework yet. You know, he's a naughty boy. You see what I'm saying? You know.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, because I mean, I couldn't have brought that out in a better way than you just described it. I mean, it's like, wow.
There's loads of those. There's so many of those, you know, little scenarios that you can put him in, you know. Some of them are quite funny. In fact,
is there anything else you wanted to show us?
Yeah. I pulled this book out of my shelf today. I'll show you it. It's called Myths and Legends. It's quite large. It's very thick. It's absolutely brilliant. But it's just quick and poignant, and it gives you an overview of everything. And there's this little bit where it's talking about it's all about creation and Brahma. So here we have Brahma. Yeah.
Nice.
And that's of course that he's got 4 heads, and they're looking in the cardinal directions. So I'm going to show you, while I'm reading this, I'm going to show you the Aztec calendar again, because I want to raise this again, because whenever I hear about this calendar on TV in these programs, they always say that they reckon it's just about timing, and it's a mechanism about timing. And what you're looking at here, these 4 squares around the central figure, the central face, are always interpreted as ways in which the old world died. So one of them, the old world died with a flood, or there was a great fire, or there was a great earthquake, or there was a great whatever, hurricane, whatever. These are the 4 elements: this earth, water, air, and fire, surrounding the creator, who is at the center of the hub of the Aztec calendar. which relates to the galaxy. The calendar relates to the galaxy. It's
And
not
those
just
elements
that.
can be attributes of our psyche too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Because they're 4 elements, you can apply them to physical material, as in solid, liquid, gas, and plasma, or you can apply it to the human being, the psyche of the human being that has 4 parts. Yeah, there's physical senses, emotion, intuition, and logic. So the creator is always associated with 4. It's the 4 elements that make him, and he makes the 4 elements as the creator. So he's always associated with those 4 elements. I just want to raise that point. In the larger calendar here, you can see the 4 cardinal directions are highlighted, as it were, as if he's established axis mundi. This is the center of the universe. Now it's going to expand. See, but of course, this relates to in timing to our galaxy. So I just wanted to show you something from this book where it says different accounts of the creation story have often used the name Prajapati, which is Lord of Creatures. It's a more of a female name concerning the creator. It's almost like saying Sophia. It's the creator is also called Sophia because it's androgynous. So when you talk about the feminine aspect, we say Sophia, which means wisdom. It's the Greek for wisdom. Some myths associate the deity Vishnu with Prajapati, and Brahma is said to have been born from the navel of Vishnu. The title Prajapati is also used for Brahma and his 10 mind-born sons. 10. That is the Sephirah of the tree of life, and yet that's Hindu. See? The creator is the top of the tree of life of 10 points. So how come we're hearing about it in Hindu myth now? You know?
Right. It's in Angkor Wat too, right? I mean, isn't that what it's laid out like?
Angkor Wat is another way of showing this picture here. In a sense, you've got 5 towers at Angkor Wat. So if you take the 4 elements to be the 4 towers, the central face is now the 5th tower, which is called Mount Meru, which is where Axis Mundi is established. It's the mountain of God. Yes, there is a Mount Meru in the Himalayas, but that's not what it's referring to. That's just a symbolic association, you know, the literal mountain. This is the mountain that you develop and grow inside yourself.
And you're essentially the center of all things. You become center of all things when you experience the pineal light event, right?
You find the center of all things. Yeah. You're there with it, because you could say that the light defines the center, as it were, and you're slightly off to the side so you can view it, you know, as if you're now separate from its condition. That's a very poignant concept, that you have nothing to do with it anymore. Now I can see it. I have nothing to do with it anymore.
Wow. You know it's there, you know it exists, so you're not looking for it anymore, and you don't even need it anymore.
It has no control over you anymore.
Wow.
You've seen what is behind the automatic system, so now you're going to understand. Do you see?
The proverbial veil has been lifted.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. Yeah, you got it. Right. What else is it? Oh, yeah, there was, okay, so we've done those. I don't know whether you wanted to go over the elemental tests or not.
Whatever you think is pertinent to our discussion and would help anybody get them further along, or just hook anybody long enough for them to find their center. Because we all know we can't drag anybody to a trough. We can get somebody to a trough, but we can't make them drink. So you know.
That's right. But however, to be perfectly honest, in hindsight, looking back on 20 years of looking for this thing, this issue, I was completely lost, as it were. The only guide I had was Kabbalah, but I kept coming across things that were suggesting that it was all bogus. So the build up I got mentally after reading Kabbalah was challenged an awful lot. So there was an awful lot of umming and ahhing over the years. Is it really this? Is it really that? Oh, let's try this now. So lots and lots of trying this and that, and getting as deeply involved as possible. But that's just because I had no guide as such. Do you see what I'm saying? So now that I've done it, I have that hindsight, and I can tell you it's a lot easier and simpler than you might think. Because if you look at the recent interview with Pierre Sabac, where I describe exactly how I opened the narrow gate, that's a very simple concept. That's a very simple idea. You know, you simply have a thought experiment where you unify duality, where you realize that the two opposites are exactly the same in opposite states at the same time. As soon as you realize that, ascension occurs. That's what did it. That realization that there's only one thing. You know.
Yes.
So that what you're getting to there is the recognition of the fact that there is spirit and energy, which takes us really back to that symbol there, which we saw at the beginning when we started talking, and that's what you need to know. Really, do you know what I mean? So doing all the science allowed me to sort of focus in and realize that there is spirit, and it's simply not physical, so you can't measure it with anything physical. Therefore, it's experiential only.
Am I right in assuming that what triggered your aha moment or that moment for you is going to be different for somebody else, and that's what makes the path narrow or the gate narrow?
You mean the realization that the two opposites are the same?
Yes, or you know, that the moment in which you ascended, in the thought you had then is going to be different for somebody else. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. To be honest, I would say no. I would say it's always going to be exactly the same, because it actually turns out to be a feeling that you get from the thought that does it. It's not just the thought itself. It's almost as if your thinking becomes the reality of it itself, and you get it perfectly, just like that. And you
Is that when
suddenly
that uncontrollable, unbelievable love takes over you?
No, you're already in a state of bliss. That's
Okay.
already apparent. So
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about that or think about it. It's really purely a focus of awareness on the issue of unifying them and understanding them. And the understanding is that they are the same in opposite states at the same time. So they are exactly the same thing. So you get this very different concept of how important physical reality really is as well. You know,
Yeah, where a lot of people want to write it off as an imaginary hallucination or.
Yeah, they oversimplify this. Oh, it's just an illusion. Listen to how clever I am. You know, you don't need to be clever. Explore it more and see what its real context is. Yes, it's an illusion, but it doesn't mean it's meaningless. By itself, it is meaningless. Therefore, a yogi will say life has no meaning. I heard Sadhguru said that. But what he really means is life by itself is automatic, and automatic is kind of meaningless. It's us that bring meaning to it. It's spirit that's meaningful. It's love that's meaningful. I notice in hindsight in my life. What do I remember the most? I remember love the most.
Right.
That's the most meaningful thing. You know, when you met someone and you love them, that is meaningful, isn't it?
Yeah. So truth is love and love is God.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Right. And I don't know, why is so recently I've been letting my ego get in my way, you know, and I've been catching myself doing it. What kind of advice can you give to a guy like me that just won't let his ego die?
That's fine. It's not about. I don't think there's any such thing as ego death until you literally die and never come back to physical incarnation. Maybe. So it's not a question of trying to get rid of something that doesn't make any sense, as it were. It's about accepting that it's there and recognizing what it is, and when it does things and when it wants to suggest things to you. Get to know what that is, then you can say, oh, hang on, that's my ego. Wait a second, where's that going to go? 2 years ago it did this and it went in that direction. I didn't like that. No, you're not going to do that to me again. You know what I mean?
That process is the process to God, is quelling your inner.
Yeah, it is partly because it's about being aware in the moment now. And God is alive now, right now, all around you right now. So it's simply a question of you becoming like that to know it.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else you want to show us?
No, that was pretty much it. But I mentioned the elemental test. I don't know whether you want to talk about those.
Yeah, sure. We can talk about that.
Okay, let me get it. They're on my phone. It's a lot easier to read. Let me just grab my phone. Hang on. Where's it gone?
Hi, Yvonne. Hi, Robert. Hi, Michelle. Piccolo's son. Mary. Sean Reha. Menza. Glad you guys could all join us. Scott Hancock. Hello, everybody. Piccolo's son says, your job as a child of Creator is to unite them. Body, mind, and soul.
Okay.
I was just saying hi to everybody in chat. So
yeah, sorry, dude. Yeah,
no, go ahead.
I'll say hello, everyone, as well. Sorry, man, I was distracted there for a sec. I found these tests on my phone. Anything else there, Steve? You want to?
No, I was done.
Anybody else? Is that okay?
I was filling time until Phil came back.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right, thanks. Okay, so these are elemental tests. I came across these a while back and recognized them as, you actually do go through these in life. They're quite trying. The fire tests, they're elemental, so it's earth, water, air, fire. And the fire test says the student faces the fire of criticism and must respond with love, patience, and equanimity, etc. The candidate is exposed to this ordeal in order to examine his serenity and sweetness. The wrathful and choleric inevitably fail this ordeal. The candidate experiences being persecuted, insulted, and wronged, etc. So the question is, so all you're dealing with here is a measure of your, let's say, spirituality, or a measure of your understanding, a measure of your maturity. The more mature you are, the less things bother you. That's basically all this is saying, but these tests are quite severe. So it's the most severe things you can go through, and they shouldn't bother you. The water is the test for the disciples' altruism and philanthropy. The candidate is thrown into the ocean and believes himself to be drowning. Those who do not know how to adapt themselves to the various social conditions of life, those who do not know how to live among the poor, those who, after being shipwrecked in the ocean of life, reject the struggle and prefer to die, they, the weak ones, inevitably fail in the ordeal of water. So never give up is a very powerful piece of advice. Never give up. Doesn't matter, because everything changes. If you're going through bad times, it doesn't last. There's going to be good times again. Always, always. The air test is the measure of a disciple's capacity for resistance against great adversity and for detachment from material things. Those who despair because they lose something or someone, those who fear poverty, those who are not willing to lose what they love the most. Do you remember that from Star Wars? That was in episode 3 of Star Wars, Return of the Sith, or sorry, Revenge of the Sith, where Yoda was telling Anakin, make yourself able to not worry about losing the thing you love the most.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Because the reason, I'll tell you this so that nobody despairs. The reason is with God, nothing is missing. So you never, ever lose anyone or anything, ever. It's only a temporary, egotistical point of view, the idea of loss, basically.
So when somebody dies and you feel that loss, know that it's your selfish ego that's making you feel that way.
Well, no, it's your, I suppose you could say it's your inexperience of spiritual nature, maybe.
Or unawareness of what the whole is.
But nobody's perfect, and no one's asking you not to cry when your mum dies and things like that. You know what I mean? It's not like that.
Well, I'm trying to learn how to flip on the cold switch so I don't give a shit.
Know the higher truth then.
Yes.
Because when you know the higher truth, you realize, that doesn't matter. It doesn't bother you anymore. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So here we go. So the air measures the disciples' capacity for resistance against great adversity. Those who despair because they lose something or someone fail in the ordeal of air. The candidate is thrown into the depth of a precipice. The weak ones cry out and return terrified to the physical body. That sounds like someone in a secret society or into magic. It sounds like that kind of person who's written these, I feel. The Earth test is the last one. It says it tests the disciples' ability to adapt to the inconveniences of life. We must learn how to take advantage of the worst adversities. The worst adversities bring us the best opportunities. We must learn to smile before all adversity. Oh, this is the law. It says this is the law. You know, no pressure. Yeah, you
Right.
know, no pressure.
Smile when you're taking your licks, boy.
Yeah, right, yeah. Those who succumb to pain before the adversities of existence cannot victoriously pass the ordeal of earth. In the superior worlds, the candidate finds himself between two enormous mountains that menacingly close in upon him. If the candidate screams in horror, he then returns as a failure into his physical body. However, if he is serene, he becomes victorious and is received in the children's chamber with great festivity and immense happiness. That's a hell of a thing to expect someone to take. Imagine putting someone between two
Yeah.
mountains and moving them together as if it's going to crush them to death. You know, there is such a thing as, you know, automatic reaction and just self-preservation. Do you know what I mean? For anyone.
Right.
Most people.
Fight or flight, right?
Yeah, just the natural thing. You know, even if I'm very chilled, you know, there's still an element of initial sort of reactive processing going on.
Instinct.
You know? Yeah, absolutely. That's always there. Just like with the thing with ego, you can't get rid of it. You can never get rid of it. It's always going to be there when you're in a manifestation, because it's all about identity manifestation. You know.
Yeah, that's.
So it's about acceptance, in a way.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Learn to live with yourself, or else, you know.
And recognize what it is, its qualities, its nature. That's why they say know thyself. So you get to know the nature of your ego as opposed to the nature of your spirit. And you start to realize there's a distinction, you know, in yourself. You'll start realizing
it's crazy how it manifests everywhere in our reality and within ourselves, and it's just like it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't now I don't know how to phrase this question to you, but I've asked this before. I'm not even going to ask it because I know what your answer is going to be. So I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, those things you just read off, you posted that on Facebook recently, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and I loved it when I read it, and I saved it, and I go back.
It was hopefully to give comfort. I hope it was clear that even though you feel as though you're losing things in life, you never do. That was one of the biggest surprises of meeting God was the fullness of it, and the fact that I felt as though I'd lost nothing, in fact, ever. Because here it all is, all at once. It's like that, spirit.
That's just the all-encompassing comfort.
Yeah, everyone is there. There's no problem. You know, there's no problem. You know what I mean? All is well.
The effulgence.
Yeah, it's just like it's nothing like physical life at all. Nothing goes right in physical life, really. It's a very messy sort of place, but with God in heaven, all is well. Yeah, there's no problem at all.
Well, like if it was all unicorns and rainbows, what would be the point, right?
Yeah, kind of, because there's the issue with the underworld or the abyss, because what you think of, it's the inversion of your singularity. So your mind is now going to produce things instead of an inside mind, it's going to produce them outside you, like we mentioned before. Things appear outside of you in the abyss. They even say that in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Your inner demons, as it were, will now appear in front of you because you haven't processed certain things about your own being. You haven't gone deep enough, you know, and asked deep enough questions. You see what I'm saying?
So I'm correct in assuming, because I've always said I don't give that stuff my energy, or demons, and people ask me, well, have you ever had demons possess you or come after you? And I don't give that energy. Is there any validity to me saying that? I mean, if I don't think they exist, they don't exist. Or am I wrong?
But I don't think that would be if you haven't experienced something, it doesn't mean it's not an experience.
Right.
You know? So I do think there are what you would call demonic entities or people or forces or what have you. People can go that way if they want.
Right. That's the free
Free
will
will.
choice embedded
Free
in
will.
our reality everywhere, right?
Yeah. But you reap what you sow, as it were, and life is what we do to ourselves to some extent, to a large extent.
Wonderful.
Same can be applied to people who are stuck in the abyss, let's say, or demons in the darkness. They can interact with our world to some extent. They learn magic secrets and what have you, and all this sort of thing. And it's just like kids learning. Oh, we've got hold of these secrets. Let's use them and have some fun. It's that sort of stupid nonsense. It's very ego-based and dark and boring, really boring. You just want to say that if you grow up a little bit, you'll have a bit more fun, and you won't be so horrible. You won't have such a bad time, and you won't moan and complain so much.
Well, there's a lot of pissing and moaning going on right now.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, everywhere.
So. Yeah,
everywhere.
That's right.
But yeah, any last thoughts or things you'd like to say to everybody? And I'd like to just point out something Yvonne said. I think you said it at the exact same time. Was will is the intention to control the emotions and mind and invert them. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does to me. Absolutely. One thing I've learned is to, I didn't realize how important it was to master the emotions, because I thought it was okay to let the floodgates open and just cry my eyes out if I wanted to. But I remember doing that for 15 months after Divine Union. I was crying for 15 months, 2 or 3 times a day for 5 or 10 minutes, every single day, without fail.
Deep sorrow crying for no reason.
No, it wasn't sorrow crying. It was bliss crying, because now you know bliss, but you have to carry on with normal life, and I can't spend all my time in that bliss, because I cannot live a normal life if I do that. So it's a sort of missing, the constant nature of it, the fact that you now have to focus on things in life, and that takes your mind away from that to some extent. So
life.
Yeah, I cried. I went into Richmond Park one day on the way home, and I instantly just broke down in tears, saying that I missed God so much that I just wanted to leave now, and I had to pull myself together, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you get like that sometimes, because you have to just carry on. But yeah, I realized after 15 months, I just dried out. I just couldn't cry anymore. There was nothing left to cry, so. But this time with my twin, for instance, I had to stand up and say, no, I've got to stop crying over this. I've got to stand on my own. I have to master these emotions. So I've been doing that.
Has anything new come of that situation?
Kind of, but not manifestly. Not manifestly. It's going to take some time, because she is assuming things, which is a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
Assumption is the mother of all mistakes, and she assumes that I'm going to clobber her when she turns up, which I'm not. I'm going to give her the biggest hug and kiss that she's ever had, like that. But she thinks the opposite will happen, and I'll scream at her and storm off and say, "Don't ever talk to me again," sort of thing. That's what she expects. I know she does, and it's all wrong. So she's divine masculine, I'm divine feminine in this case. It's about polarity between us. In this case, she's kind of a bit boyish in her thinking in those terms. She just automatically sort of cuts it out, thinking, no, I can't do that. I can't approach him. He'll kill me. That sort of thing. That's not going to happen.
Have you seen that movie yet with Will Smith that I was talking about?
Which one?
What is it called, you guys? It's not Hitch, is it?
Oh, no, Hitch.
Not Hitch. It's the other one where he's superhuman. And
yeah, what's that called?
Whenever they get together, they start dying or whatever, losing their powers.
Yeah, I know.
Every time you talk about your twin flame, that's the movie I think about.
Right, I see. Yeah, there's a lot of twin flame things in stories that I started to notice recently that I never noticed before. For instance, in the new Star Wars films with Rey and Kylo Ren, they are like twin flames. Yeah.
And maybe that's why A Star Is Born grabbed me too, was that same situation.
Oh, that's Lady Gaga and
Yeah, have you seen that movie yet?
Bradley Cooper. I think no, I haven't seen that. I haven't actually
Yeah,
seen
that's
that.
that movie where that symbol I put two and two together, and it was like woof. That's when I started crying, like for no reason. Was that movie?
Oh, really? Really?
It was when I felt something different in me awaken. That it was weird. Well,
Right.
it wasn't weird, but I mean, it was comforting in a way. But it was one of those moments where it just kept me on the path, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. Wow.
But hey, I want to say thanks, man, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I really liked talking to you today.
Yeah.
And
Thank you, man. Always nice, isn't it?
yes, it is. It's very
I
nice.
like it. Yeah. Nice. It's so nice to talk to you again, man. It's very, very hot here. I'm
Yeah,
glad I
it's
got
hot
away with
here,
it. I've been drenched in sweat all day. It's the first time I've had where my hair is actually dry. I've got a fan going. I'm wearing clothes, which I really don't want to do because it's so hot, you know.
All right. Well, we'll let you go so you can take them off then, Phil.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. Okay.
All right, brother. I love you, man. You keep it going.
I love you too, man. Yeah.
Don't work
Thanks,
too
man.
hard.
No, I won't. Same
All right,
you. Take it easy, man.
Yeah, you too. Thanks
Cheers,
everybody for joining us. And I'd like to say, just live inwardly, love outwardly. Nothing can touch us, right?
Mhm.
Take it easy. Love, peace, chicken grease.